Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the cold and snowy weather which is expected to impact the UK and Ireland this week. So as usual, we're going to start off by looking at the kind of general pressure overview fairly quickly. We've got a high pressure which we've been talking about for a while. That is now to our northwest with our low pressure to the east of us like that. And then in between we're dragging in a pretty classic northerly. You can definitely see that over the UK now. And that's bringing with it some very cold air as shown by these purple and dark blue colours, which is now fully covering the UK and Ireland as of today. And so it's felt really chilly in many places, and because of the temperature difference between that cold air above and the milder sea, we've started to see those snow showers starting to develop. You can really see them pushing in here, especially across kind of parts of northwest Scotland there, also into parts of eastern Scotland, and then a couple just about kind of encroaching on the east coast there, but nothing too significant. We also have some showers across parts of Northern Ireland and Ireland there as well, but these have really kind of been non-stop through basically today and last night, and so a fair few locations, especially kind of in northwestern and then northeastern Scotland, have actually seen a fair amount of snow, kind of 5 locally kind of 10 plus centimeters, and that's really just going to continue, because if we take a look at this chart, you can see our cold air remains over the UK through the week, because we still have a high pressure to the northwest, our low to the east, and so it's just dragging that northerly, and you can see basically up until the weekend we have those dark blue and purple colours over us, and as long as that cold air is there, our showers will be moving in. We also have a couple of other kind of things to look at. This is the first one. This low pressure system here is expected to move kind of southeast, and let's get a better model for this. Let's go to Northwest Europe. So this is the French model, and you can see here quite nicely we have a small little low which is likely going to move kind of southeast like that during tomorrow morning, and we've already got our snow showers coming in, so we're already likely to have a covering of snow in places. But watch what happens as it moves into that very cold air. It turns basically completely to snow across Scotland, especially northern Scotland, and we have the potential for, where the vertical motion is strongest, for a fairly heavy band of snow. Actually, let me zoom in on Scotland here. Sorry. Now, don't take this too literally, because the exact position will likely change, but like I mentioned, there is potential for a fairly intense band of snow to set up somewhere across the central kind of areas of Scotland, but more generally we're likely to see light snow and moderate snow quite widely across Scotland through the day tomorrow. And then by the kind of evening, you can see it's exiting to the, let me get rid of that, you can see it's exiting there to the east, and then our snow showers resume, so kind of basically non-stop snow during tomorrow. If we take a look at what that might look like snow depth wise, you can see enhanced in the northwest where we've got those showers, 20 centimeters there, maybe even a bit more, but you can see fairly widely through northern and central Scotland we're looking at kind of 3 to 10 locally higher centimeters of snow. You'll also notice, if I zoom out a little bit there, you can also see very clearly where we've got the other shower activity as well, because during Tuesday it's not just Scotland that's going to be seeing snow, but we're likely to see also further south, especially across kind of high ground of northwest England and Wales, and then also, like I said, those showers continue in, and that's really going to be then the main snow feature through kind of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are those showers. So you can really see on this model, I mean, don't take this too literally, because showers are impossible to forecast the exact location. We can just forecast the general area they will be in, but you can really see that through kind of Northern Ireland and then especially Scotland, those showers are non-stop, and also potentially we have a few disturbances in the flow locally enhancing that shower activity. And now another thing to watch out for Thursday kind of during the afternoon is the wind turns fairly nicely northwesterly there, and actually it lines up quite nicely with this sort of area of northwest England, the Cheshire Gap, and so it's possible that we could get a line of showers into northwest England, into the Midlands on Thursday. Now it's a few days away, so I don't want to promise anything, but you can see there exists the potential for locally enhanced snowfall towards the Midlands as a result of those showers coming off kind of the Irish Sea there, as you can see what I mean. And it's kind of hard to forecast these things very well, so I will probably do an update closer to the time whether that's still an issue, but it's something to be kind of keep an eye on. And it's quite nice that with these general northerlies you can kind of basically be aware that any northwestern coasts are at risk of snow. And I mean, just kind of for the fun of it, keep your eye on this sort of region here, because the snow, basically the entire run, it just piles and piles and piles on. It basically is non-stop, and so of course there will be breaks in the shower activity, but really by kind of Friday we are looking at 20 to 30, locally even higher, along the northwest coast of Scotland there. Very, very heavy and deep snowfall. So actually, looking at the Meteor's warnings, you can see there's our warnings of snow and ice across northern Scotland, Northern Ireland, Eastern England. Tomorrow, quite a big warning because we've got that low pressure system moving through on top of these showers. And then Wednesday, you can see further risks of snow, ice, that kind of thing. But I am slightly curious why there isn't an amber warning for this area of northern Scotland, because of how much snow it could potentially see. I guess it's lower, kind of less densely populated, but still any people that do live there will be impacted the same. So I don't quite see why we don't have any high warnings. That may well change in the coming days, but really the amount of snow forecast there is quite impressive. And then also you can see the general theme for snow is basically Scotland plus kind of northwestern and western coast. So you can see North Wales, northwest England, and parts of kind of the Midlands just about seeing that risk of snow. Also parts of Ireland and Northern Ireland there, you can see seeing the snow risk as well. Now the biggest uncertainty, and it's been the biggest uncertainty for a very, very long time, is this low pressure system to the south of us. You can see originates there through this evening, but watch how it moves up through Tuesday into Wednesday. Now that big band of precipitation, as it bumps into colder air on the northern edge, is likely to turn to snow. But the models haven't been able to quite nail down exactly where that big band of precipitation will be. For example, the arpegge model here brings that into kind of northern France and then further east into the rest of Europe, and doesn't really have any snow whatsoever for the south coast. And to be completely honest, most of the models are now in line with that thinking. You can see Icon here showing missing to the south. I think the latest GFS, and okay, this is basically what I'm about to talk about. Now, so despite the majority of models having it to the south, there are still a couple models which actually show it brushing the south coast. For example, the GFS here sees it kind of pushing into the south coast during kind of Wednesday morning, bringing a dusting to a couple of centimeters. Actually, let me zoom in here, sorry. A dusting to a couple of centimeters of snow across the south here. Kind of, you can see these areas here, especially kind of into kind of Dorset and Hampshire there. And if we look at the European model, you can see it will show a similar thing, the risk of a kind of dusting of snow there, perhaps a centimetre or two, though like I did mention, the majority of models keep this to the south. Again, Canadian model showing a dusting there, but then the more high resolution models like the kind of arpegge, the Icon, showing nothing. However, it is still a remote possibility that we do get some sort of kind of significant snow event. It's a very small one, but it's worth being aware of. This is one of the Rome model ensemble members, and this shows one possible scenario for the snowfall depth kind of after, I think this is valid for the 17th. So this, as you can see here, it's completely white across the southern half of the UK, so it's showing no snowfall whatsoever. This is probably the scenario I more agree with. I think this is more likely, but there is still the kind of a few members, about kind of, I think it's like 3 or 4 out of the 15, are still showing the snowfall band getting into southern England and bringing significant snow. This is a very, very low probability. I'd say probably less than 5%, but it's still remotely possible. So just keep an eye on the forecast, and especially the further south you are, then do keep a strong eye, because the kind of percentage snowfall risk from the arpegge ensembles actually here is relatively decent. You can see 50 to 60 along the south coast there, kind of especially Brighton. So I would keep an eye on the forecast still, but do not expect anything significant. If it does snow, it's likely to be light, maybe a small settle, kind of like 1 centimetre or so, but nothing significant. However, it is worth being aware there is a very, very low possibility things could change, so just keep an eye on the forecast. But as I mentioned, I don't think it is really likely to see much snow. I think basically if you're in kind of this red zone, then you're at risk of seeing flurries and maybe dusting. But further north, despite what the kind of Rome model is showing here, I don't think you're going to see a snow risk. But of course, I will update you if that changes. Now, moving on to the kind of weekend, there is now kind of in the last day or so an increasing signal for some pretty windy weather, because if I zoom out here, basically as the as the kind of high pressure collapses through kind of on Friday, what's going to happen is that cold air is shifted away. And then what sets up quite nicely is a pretty strong thermal gradient between cold air and warm air across the Atlantic. And so in the middle we have a very strong jet stream, and it actually spins up a couple of very nasty areas of low pressure. Now, don't take this run particularly like too literally, because it's going to change. But you can see we get one and then we get two very strong lows, which would bring, if they were to occur, kind of 60-70 mile an hour wind gusts widely through the UK. Now, it's still pretty much a week away, so it's really not at this stage not worth getting concerned about. But we do have a fairly decent model consensus. For example, the European model was showing a similar thing on the morning run today. You can see big low pressure system there. The latest Icon and European and Metalverse models have all shown that kind of thing. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and I will likely do further updates if this becomes a developing situation. And then finally, looking into the longer range, the European weekly mean sea level pressure anomalies continue to suggest that into February we're likely to see a re-establishment of our high pressure to the northwest of us. Now, this means initially likely it's going to be quite settled, perhaps even quite mild at the end of January, but there is the possibility, and I say to possibility because it's a very low chance at this stage, it's just kind of a thought, that if we do get the high pressure oriented more to our north and northwest than actually over us, then what could happen is we get further risk of northerly, perhaps northeasterly winds into February. Very far out, just something to keep an eye on. I thought just kind of worth keeping you updated. But that's about it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye bye.